Welcome to the Geek Easy. Sit back, grab a libation of your choice, and relax, 'cause it's time to do some geek stuff in the Geek Easy. Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Grab a beverage of your choice, because today I'm going to be reviewing Moon Knight Volume 1, which is all the stuff from like his first appearance in Werewolf by Night 32, all his appearances in different magazines, and then the beginning of his series. It has all these. So this is, I think, the direct market. The original cover is this one, which would be the cover for Moon Knight number 1, the regular series, which I have sitting over there, a first printing. But I have been a fan of Moon Knight for years, since that pretty much came out in the 80s. I think off and on. The first one that I read was in the back of a Hulk magazine. It was one of the let's just do it like this. One of the magazine size Hulks that came out in, I think, maybe the 70s or 80s. Where there was Hulk in the front, and then there was a little backup story in the back. And I remember it specifically. We were doing this thing called the Walk for Hope. Here in Anchorage, there's this thing called Hope Cottage, where they take care of developmentally disabled people. And they'd have a little thing where you'd walk 26 miles, and you'd get pledges, per mile, and then, however many miles you did on this route they do, and money would be donated. And I was going along, and I stopped in this convenience store to get something to eat, and I saw the magazine and picked it up and read it when I got home. This one, I was a fan of the Hulk at the time, so that's why I picked it up. And this one Banner was on a plane going someplace, and it gets hijacked, and it crashes, and then at some point, Hulk comes along, he turns into the Hulk, and he winds up getting the 747 and lifting it up on his back and carrying it up the mountain so people could find it, because he had helped defeat the bad guys. And in the back was a Moon Knight story, and it was part 2 or 3, where Moon Knight is fighting Lupinar, Lupinar, and it was just so cool, especially for that size, seeing it that size. And I was reading it, and when I was reading it, that song "Don't Bring Me Down" by ELO was playing. So whenever I hear that song or read that part of the comic, that song, those two are interconnected. But that is what sort of got me a big fan of Moon Knight. And, I've been reading them off and on for years. And when these came out, I started collecting them. So I have this one. I've got the other 3 back home, packed over in my shelf over there. But this is an incredible story. It's just his first appearances and his first appearance all the way up to what is this last issue right here? Moon Knight number 20. And wow, it is so nice to see, him back at his origins, where he's just kind of a street level guy. You have him, his origins, how he became from working for the committee to go after Werewolf by Night, and then his different things, his origins, his changing, and then when you go to number 1, it sort of actually get his real origin, and it sort of redefines how he started out. He is a mercenary. That's who he was at first. Mark Spector, a mercenary, who was a really bad person, winds up turning against Bushman, his boss, so to speak, when he was a mercenary, due to events, and you show his evolution to how he gets all 4 of his personalities: Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley, and Moon Knight. And you're beginning to see the beginnings of his, don't want to say mental problems, but his, split personalities, because when he is each person, like when he's Stephen Grant, he is Stephen Grant. But then he becomes, when he goes to do Jake Lockley, he's like, oh, I'm Jake Lockley. And you can sort of see him starting to struggle for that. And, you have his girlfriend, Marlene, who refers to him as Stephen, because she knows him as, she met him as Jake Lockley, but to her, he is Stephen Grant. So she refers to him as Stephen all the time, he's always having to sit there and say, I'm Jake. Frenchie, his friend and pilot, he's always Mark. No matter who he is, Mark. And so it's getting, you can sort of see the, how he's, it's going, and it's how it starts to affect him a little bit, because it's like, who am I? And I do not know if Doug Moench meant for this to happen, ahead of time, or if it was just a natural evolution. But it is really nice to see his earlier stuff. And this is my favorite iteration of Moon Knight. Street level, that uniform where he's, doing his stuff, and not doing the complete utter supernatural stuff. But this is my favorite iteration, so I'm glad I got this. I am going to give this a 4.75 out of 5, just because it's got so much fun stuff in there, and then you've got everything, and then little bits and pieces in between, little articles and stuff, and then in the back they have kind of a sketch gallery of stuff, and that makes it kind of nice to see. Like right there, Lupinar. That's the guy. yeah, this is wonderful stuff. So if you are a fan of Moon Knight, this is the one of the ones you need to get, because this is his first, his origins, his stuff, his, what got him started, and you'll understand the character. But anyway, let me know what you think of this, and like, subscribe, most of all, enjoy your comics.